and welcome to this episode of Season 6 of the Dr. Tech Show, where myself, Pauline Roche, and Sweyn Hunter, and often guests, but not today, talk about digital topics, including the world of online communications and digital inclusion, in a show which was the brainchild of digital storyteller, the late John Popham, and we would love to have him on the show all day, every day, to talk about all the stories we have. But anyway, we hope his legacy lives on with us. Sweyn, how has the weather been this week where you are?
Well, it's been mixed. We've had everything in the last week, except snow, obviously. Although there was a hail shower 2 or 3 weeks ago. It was interesting. No, but today and for the next few days, like everywhere else, it's very fine weather. But we're not expecting the dangerous high temperatures that some other parts of the UK are going to expect.
Yeah, I heard up
Mm,
to like
mm.
40. Was it up to 40 degrees some
Something like that,
places?
yes,
Certainly
in
in
parts
continental
of
Europe as well.
inland and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And here in Ireland, it has been glorious. It's a bit cloudier today, but again, lovely. I'm in a t-shirt. What can you say? You got to take the benefit of it when it happens. I was sitting outside yesterday taking it on a Zoom call, so that was nice
I'm
to be able to
taking
do.
I'm taking a much greater interest in what the weather is like at the moment because I'm at the moment acting as a relief postie.
Oh, yes. How's
So
that
the
going?
weather affects me directly on
Yeah,
those
yeah,
days.
yeah,
Only 2 or 3 days a week, so
yeah.
it's not getting fit.
Interesting. So people are still getting post, even though
Yes,
we're
there's
meant to be
many
living in a
packets
digital
and
age. Yeah.
parcels,
Okay.
many fewer letters than, say
Okay.
15, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Um, but many more packets, particularly because our delivery office does the last mile delivery for Amazon and eBay. Not all
Okay.
post offices
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
In some areas of the country, Amazon and eBay have their own network of delivery
Mm,
drivers, but not here.
mm.
So
Okay.
I would say that's about 80% of the stuff that goes through the mailroom.
So you're getting a good insight into
Oh,
local
insight.
mail deliveries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So you
great. So anyway, let's carry
yeah,
on.
you've got some dates for us today.
Yes, I do. Let me find them rather than blethering about the uh, the post.
Hmm.
So the first one I've got is called United Nations. No, that's the wrong one.
Public
United Nations Public Service
Service
Day.
Day. Yep. Hmm.
And this day intends to celebrate the value and virtue of public service to the community. And of course, part of that is librarians. That's
Absolutely.
our library mention for the week in early this week. So the day highlights the contribution of public service in the development process, so that's the global development process, and recognizes the work of public servants and encourages young people to pursue careers in the public sector. There's a set of awards that go alongside this, which are handed out at a gathering, a kind of international conference. But the day itself was founded by General Assembly resolution of the United Nations on the 20th of December 2020, 2002.
Mm,
And as I said, to bolster the recognition of the day and the value of public services, United Nations established the UN Public Service Awards, UNPSA, program in 2003, which was reviewed in 2016 to align with the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. And
mm.
that's the thing that has all the Sustainable Development Goals attached.
Yeah.
So the forum that they hold is a global event that focuses on capacity development for public governance. And each year, the forum is organized in a host country, and this year it's in Tbilisi in
Mm,
Georgia.
hmm.
So they say effective, accountable, and inclusive institutions are essential to achieving the Sustainable Development Goals, and they're easily found all over the place. There's about 30 of them, I think.
Mm,
I should know what some of them are. So the agenda that those goals define also recognized that, interesting, governments have the primary responsibility for implementing the goals
mm,
and for ensuring follow-up and review over the coming 15 years at national, regional, that would be EU for us, for you, and might have been for us, and global levels. And one of the first steps that governments take to implement the agenda is often to shape the institutional arrangements for steering the implementation of the goals and reviewing progress.
mm,
So, public administration, the cornerstone of government's work, plays an essential and critical role in improving people's lives. reinventing public administration is a positive and necessary way forward. Well, we've heard that for a number of decades now.
Mm-hmm.
Without public administration modernization and transformation to adapt to today's needs, realizing a better future for all will be impossible. Where capable administrations are lacking, governments are incapacitated, and where governments are incapacitated, sustainable developments fall short. So that
Mm.
is
Oh.
United Nations Public Sector Day, which I hadn't
Mm.
noticed in all these years we've been doing this. I hadn't noticed that one before
No.
this year. That's
Mm.
interesting. So the second day I've got is also, I think, oh yes, no, it's not a UN day. This one
Mm.
is a UK originated
Mm.
day, which is International Women in Engineering Day, and that's tomorrow, as is Public Sector Day. That's
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow as well. This is a UK initiative, which it was the day was founded on the 23rd of June 2014 by Dawn Bonfield MBE, during her time as president of the Women's Engineering Society (WES) to celebrate its 95th anniversary. And in 2017, the day became international for the first time due to the interest and enthusiasm developed by the international audience and participants in previous years.
Mm.
So, International Women in Engineering Day was born to enable the celebration of women in engineering to become global. And each year there's events and activities, and the day not only celebrates the achievements of women in engineering, it also inspires young professionals and aspirational engineers alike. The roots of the day go way back further than the official founding. They go back
Mm.
to the 1919,
Wow.
following the end of the First World War, because during the conflict, many women embraced engineering roles and were determined to continue their careers in the field as the world returned to normality. And that's when the Women's Engineering Society was formed in
Mm.
1919. So it was founded by a group of trailblazing women whose names I'm going to read out, who were dedicated to empowering women in engineering. They were Lady Catherine Parsons, Rachel Parsons, Janetta Mary Ormsby, Margaret Rowbotham, Margaret Moyer, and Laura Ann Wilson. So they were the people. They were the women immediately after the First World War, just as women were getting the vote, who decided they would found this organisation to promote the role of women in engineering. And since
Right.
then, the society's played a vital role in promoting gender equality in the field, while inspiring young women to pursue careers in engineering. And this
Mm.
year's theme is engineering intelligence.
Mm.
The day gives women engineers around the world a profile when they are still where they are still hugely underrepresented. I beg your pardon. 2021 figures indicating that in the UK only 16.5% of engineers are women.
Mhm.
That's very, very low, I think. After
Mm.
in all the years since 1919, you just think we could
Mm.
do better than that. Anyway, so as the only platform of its kind, it plays a vital role in encouraging more young women and girls to take up engineering careers. I think I said that 2 or 3 times now. And despite the progress made over the years, engineering remains a male-dominated industry, and this
Mhm.
day provides a platform for trying to change that.
Great. Well, I remember when I first heard about that day, sending details to a friend of mine, an engineer, who was pleased to hear there was such a day. My niece is an engineer working in Amsterdam, and my brother is also a qualified engineer. My father lectured in engineering, so I'm very fond of
There we
engineering as
go.
such. Even though when I was at
How did you escape
university,
from being an engineer then?
did I? Did I? Um, yeah, they do take the brunt of teasing when I was at university, but then I was with the arts crowd, so yeah, we
Oh,
would
they were.
tease
There
the
we are. Quite
engineers.
right
Yeah,
too. Quite right
yeah,
too.
yeah.
Yes, and I mean, engineering is a fantastically wide.
Mm,
Well, it's not one discipline, is it? It's
no,
like
no,
civil
industrial,
engineering,
civil,
uh,
there's all kinds of chemical
IT
engineering. Yeah, yeah,
engineering. No doubt
yeah.
there'll be digital engineering by now somewhere if we
Mm,
looked for
mm,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, safety engineering,
Mm,
but
mm,
all the common factor across all of the engineering professions is that they use design and learned lessons from predecessors in
mm-hmm.
moving forward how things, either real things or um, uh, mental things. I don't mean mental, I mean theoretical things
Yeah.
are designed. Intangible things, that's the word.
Mm, mm,
Okay, enough of
yeah.
that.
Great.
The third and final day I have picked is another United Nations Day, and it is International Day of Women in Diplomacy, which is not tomorrow but Wednesday, the
Hmm.
24th of June. And this is, as I say, a UN day, and what they say is that women in diplomacy are not only participants in international affairs, they're architects of peace, advocates for equality, and leaders shaping the future of global cooperation. Their voices, perspectives, and leadership are essential to addressing the complex challenges facing our world and to building societies that are more inclusive, just, and resilient. As diplomacy evolves to meet the demands of an interconnected world, ensuring women's full, equal, and meaningful participation at every level of decision making is both a matter of equity and a prerequisite for effective global governance by upholding the promises of the Beijing Platform and, here we go again, the Sustainable Development Goals.
Hmm.
When women are represented at the tables where decisions are made, diplomacy becomes more reflective of the people it serves and better equipped to advance lasting peace, sustainable development, and human dignity. Across diplomatic missions, multilateral institutions, and international negotiations, women continue to make invaluable contributions to dialogue, consensus building, conflict resolution, and international cooperation. Their leadership helps bridge national priorities and global challenges, advancing solutions that promote human rights, security, and shared prosperity. And the International Day of Women in Diplomacy serves as a powerful reminder that the pursuit of peace and progress depends on the inclusion of diverse voices and experiences. It is both a celebration of the achievements of women diplomats and a call to strengthen efforts to remove barriers, expand opportunities, and ensure that future generations of women can lead, influence, and shape the course of international affairs. There's another paragraph about how the representation of women has increased over the years, and how, despite despite this progress, women remain underrepresented in many diplomatic and political leadership positions
Mm,
across
mm,
the world, and it highlights the need for continued action to achieve equal participation and representation.
absolutely.
And
Well,
those are the dates for this week.
and I'm happy to report that the new ambassador to the UK from Ireland, replacing Martin Fraser when he goes to the UN, is a woman called Sonia Hyland, and she's currently Deputy Secretary for General for Ireland, UK, and Americas Division. So
Okay,
great
yeah,
to, and
great.
actually there's an the Irish ambassador to the US is also a woman, Geraldine Byrne Nason. So good to see
Yeah,
Ireland holding up
absolutely.
their end.
Not surprisingly, actually, given the recent history of Ireland, anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, with Irish
Presidents
presidents, yes,
and
absolutely, yes,
also, changes to the constitution and all that
yeah,
stuff. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
good to see it happening.
yeah.
Okie doke, and we have some events for you as well. We've picked up a few this week and into next week. So the first one is tomorrow in Exeter, and it's titled VCSE's Driving Devon's Digital Inclusion Together. And it's great to see, individual counties getting together to promote the digital inclusion work. So this is asking if your organization works in digital inclusion across Devon, Plymouth, or Torbay, or you're interested in doing more to help people get online, access services, and tackle local barriers. You're invited to join this organization, this organizing group for their free, first of its kind event, bringing together charities, community organizations, social enterprises, and public sector partners from across the county. A unique opportunity for the VCSE, voluntary community and social enterprise sector to come together, share ideas, learn from each other, and shape a stronger collective response to digital exclusion in our communities. So, if you're wondering why you should attend, the organisers say digital exclusion continues to stop people from accessing healthcare, support services, education, employment, and everyday opportunities. Organizations are already doing brilliant work to tackle these challenges, but many are working in isolation. So this event is to change that, to share practical ideas, experience, and what's working locally, to hear directly from organizations and communities affected by digital exclusion, to identify gaps, challenges, and local priorities, to build stronger partnerships across sectors, and to explore opportunities for collaboration and collective action. So if you're in those areas, I think that's an in-person event. It's 10 to 4 tomorrow in Exeter. The
Yes.
next one is in London on Thursday from 1 to 2:30, and this is a talk and QA by Anne Kenrick, OBE, on preparing for the inevitable. And this might seem a bit, maybe I should put a kind of trigger warning on this. It might be seem a bit more morbid, but it's actually about planning for the end of life. And we do cover every topic on this show if it has relations to digital. So I won't apologize for that, but yeah, this is a talk by somebody who seems to be an expert in the field. The blurb says that research shows that 90% of people think it's important to plan for the end of their lives, but only 14% actually get around to it. So,
Mm.
following the pandemic, it says more people realize that planning for the inevitable is essential, as now we are more aware that we cannot know what will happen to us and when. So the invitation is to take a moment from your busy life to think about planning ahead. And Anne Kenrick, OBE, will lead this informative, entertaining, and thought-provoking session, outlining key decisions you can make in advance to ease the burden on your family and friends if you lose mental capacity. Experience shows that planning ahead can really help those that you love, and not doing so can cause serious rifts. Using examples from work with hundreds of clients, she will touch on vital matters like wills, powers of attorney, and funeral
Hmm.
arrangements, and will also consider what are advanced decisions and statements and why they're critical. The next one is what caught my eye. What are your digital assets and why it is helpful to consider and record wishes for your legacy, and then why it is crucial to ensure a trusted friend or family member has access to our passwords. And the blurb promises to learn how simple it is to get all of this sorted. And you're welcome to join Anne to embrace often taboo topic and start your journey towards getting your plan in place. Previous attendees have described the talk as informative, pleasant, thought-provoking, knowledgeable, helpful, provocative, thoughtful, eye-opening, humorous, absorbing, and entertaining. So, great recommendations there. And 99% said they would encourage anyone else to attend. And it does give some blurb about the speaker. Anne Kenrick, OBE, is former CEO of the Charterhouse Almshouses and Care Home, volunteer and trustee at St. Christopher's Hospice and of Cruse Bereavement, member of End of Life Doula UK, and founder of End of Life Matters, a venture supporting people of all ages to achieve peace of mind by preparing end of life plans. So that sounds like something we should all think about trying to attend, especially the digital assets. Wayne, have you left plans in place for your digital assets? Should something terrible happen to you soon?
No, I'm both one of the 90% and also one of the 86% that hasn't actually done anything about it.
Ah, okay.
Whatever it is. Uh, Jenny and I, do both have powers of attorney in place. I think
Mm-hmm.
they're in place or they're about to be in place.
Mm-hmm.
These things are slightly different in Scotland as they
Oh
are
yeah.
in Wales and also Northern Ireland. They'll be different again. And obviously Ireland. Obviously Ireland.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, it's an interesting one because I think that if I wa when I get around to sorting out my passwords and giving somebody access to them in case I should be run over by the proverbial bus, which by the way, as a postie is more likely than if you're not a postie. Where's this house?
Yeah.
Anyway, digress. I think that if I was to go through that process, I would have to sort out some of my more ridiculous password arrangements that should be sorted out. Anyway, I think this could be an opportunity to actually improve your digital security environment while you're still here. Never mind when you leave.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's quite good. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I
Yeah.
wish maybe we can get Anne Kenrick on as a guest.
Maybe we could invite her. Yeah. When I went interrailing a couple of years ago now, I sent my most important passwords to my members of my family. So at least I did something then, but I think I need to update that. As passwords have changed, of course.
Yeah,
And
this is where a password manager I think really is useful because
mm,
you can give access to that to a friend or relative who can
yeah,
then either themselves or with support from someone who knows how it works,
yeah,
get access through all, and that's what I mean about sorting out your own lifetime security as well as
yeah. Indeed.
the kind of continuity for after you depart this earth.
When it says what are your digital assets, what would you include under that heading?
Oh, wow. Um, Digital assets. Well, increasingly bank accounts, even it's increasingly literally, financial things, but
Mm,
also, Flickr accounts with photos,
yeah.
Facebook because of all the various history that there is now for about 20 years of that for me.
Mm,
Um, any blogs or YouTube channels. For example, we
yeah.
are currently, because John Popham did sort some of this out, or most of this out, even though he died a lot sooner than I think he expected to.
Mm,
Um, he had made sure that we had access to his YouTube account, which we're using to
mm,
this day.
mm-hmm.
So yeah, all sorts of things. And I think one of the benefits of attending a course or even just having a conversation with somebody like Anne Kenrick there would be that I'm sure I've left out huge chunks of digital assets that I can't actually bring to mind. And I think
Mm,
just a
mm,
checklist of what they were would be a useful thing,
yeah.
what they could be.
Okay. Well, if anybody knows Anna, or we can contact her directly, obviously, but if anybody knows her, we'd love to hear from her about coming on the show. Because this
No, it's a
sounds
really
like a
interesting topic,
very,
and I think
yeah,
there's
good.
more to it, and it's more valuable than simply what it aims to do in itself. I think it
Yeah.
helps you with clarity in your life as well as releasing your um, loved ones from stress and anxiety after you're gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okie doke. So moving on to the next one, another local kind of experience event, and this is on Friday this week, 26th of June, from 10 until half 12 in Durham. And this is called Exploring the Lived Experience of Digital Exclusion. And I saw it advertised on Digital Unite, so I think they must be all involved in organising it. Um, Based in County Durham, you're invited to and if you're concerned about the people who struggle in an increasingly digital world, this is a free event to share ideas and make connections. Digital Unite reminds us that digital exclusion isn't just about skills, it's about confidence, access, opportunity, and the very real barriers people face in everyday life. So you're invited to join them in concert for a half-day event, bringing together organisations across County Durham to explore what digital exclusion really looks like in the area, who it affects, and how we can respond with empathy, creativity, and practical support and understanding. And it's an event designed for community organisations, frontline staff, digital champions, volunteers, funders, and anyone working to improve digital confidence and inclusion or with a wish to do so. And so, what they say you can expect at the event is a workshop about young people and digital exclusion, focus session exploring the specific challenges young people face, from device access to online safety, confidence, and the pressures of digital first systems. You're invited to challenge the myth that all young people are fine in an increasingly digital world, which we have talked about
Yes,
before.
we know that
Yeah,
one, don't we?
absolutely. And then the second one workshop is Understanding Lived Experience, a broader look at digital exclusion across communities, including real stories from people who have struggled with digital confidence and overcome barriers with the support of digital champions, friends, and local services. And there's also a networking lunch and community stalls for community organisations to host informal stalls and showcase their digital inclusion work during breaks and over lunch. And that sounds like another
It
great
really does.
event to be part of. Digital Unite do really great work in this space and have done for many, many years.
Hmm.
So we're
25,
delighted
is it,
to.
is it more
Mhm.
than 30 years, isn't it? It's 30 years,
Quite a
Digital
long
Unite.
time, yeah, yeah. Emma Weston is a
Yeah.
friend of the
Yeah,
show, and we
she
have
certainly
had her
is.
on before. So good luck to Digital Unite and
Uh,
helping people in Durham.
it's really encouraging because that's two of England's counties really focusing on the frontline people
Mm,
who are involved in this area of work and trying to bring their organizations together and to make
yeah.
a kind of a more joined up approach, which is, I think, actually probably county level is probably about just about right for
Mm,
that sort of
yeah.
cooperation. I mean, there will be more local things as well
Yeah.
to be done, but I think anything much in England, England's so much more complicated than Scotland or Wales or Northern Ireland because there's so many councils
Mm,
that unlike in Scotland, where the 32 digital inclusion officers for each of the 32 councillors can actually get into one room,
yeah.
you can't do that in England because it's too big. So it's good to see some of this kind of county
Yeah.
stuff
Yeah.
happen. I think that's really encouraging.
And good to see them encouraging community organisations who would not have digital inclusion as their main work, but showcasing projects and stuff like
I,
that
th
to
I think
find
I,
out what each are doing.
I think I personally think the only way to really get on top of the process, the continuous process that goes on forever, which is encouraging digital inclusion, is to make sure that it's not special projects that are doing things.
Yeah.
It's that housing officers
Mm,
and social workers and care staff and all those people have the skills, if not to directly assist with digital stuff, at least to realize when there's a need and refer on.
yeah,
I
absolutely.
can't see how it's going to work otherwise.
Yeah.
And it's only going to work if the two organizations, the two groups of organizations we see in Dorset and Durham there in this show actually make these sessions the beginning of some kind of genuine regional, I guess,
Mm,
sub-national
yeah.
um, cooperation.
Interestingly, the West Midlands now has a digital inclusion project to WM5G, I think. Region wide. And I've just left the area, as you know, but
I'm sure
seems
there's similar
seems
things going on in
ironic. I'm sure
Ireland.
there's no connection. Get me out the door, and anyway, yes,
No, I'm
good
sure
luck
that's
to them.
complete
Good luck to
rubbish.
them.
But
Yeah.
anyway, yes. I'm
Moving
sure they
on.
miss you. If they've got to that stage, I'm sure they miss you. I'm sure they
Yeah, they
do.
do. So I hear. Yeah, I'll
Yes,
believe
good.
that. Moving on to Liverpool next week, Monday, 29th of June from 9 to 5 p.m. This is a full day workshop on AI inequality and digital divide in the UK. And this
Oh
is
no.
hosted by the Liverpool Advanced Methods for Big Data Analytics Research Centre, organized by the director, Professor Abderrahim Titu. Sorry, I'm struggling with that. Bringing together leading academics, policymakers, and industry experts to examine how AI is transforming the UK economy and society, with a particular focus on
Wow.
inequality, skills, jobs, wages, regional disparities, and access to digital infrastructure. The blurb says while AI presents significant opportunities to boost productivity and improve services, it also raises important questions about unequal access, adoption, and outcomes. And the workshop is designed to bridge academic evidence and policy discussion, helping to identify practical implications for UK policy and decision making. And there are a panel of distinguished speakers contributing, including Professor Philippe Aghion, professor at LSE and Nobel laureate in economics for the year
Wow.
2025. Professor Alan Manning, professor at LSE, chair of the UK Migration Advisory Committee from 2016 to
Oh.
2020. Professor Tommaso Valletti, professor at Imperial College Business School in London, chief competition economist of the European Commission from 2016 to 2019. Professor Anna Stavropoulos Valero, Director of the Growth Programme at the Centre for Economic Performance, Industrial Strategy Advisor to the Chancellor of the Exchequer. Chiara Criscuolo, OECD,
Oh.
Head of the Productivity, Innovation and Entrepreneurship Division. Professor Simeon Yates, Professor at University of Liverpool, Department of Communication and Media, and Co-Director of Digital Media and Society Institute. Dr. Balash Murakowski, Associate Professor at University of Liverpool Management School, and Rob Benson, Digital Inclusion Lead at Liverpool City Region Combined Authority. So quite
Wow.
a
With all
heavy
those
duty lineup.
academic speakers, I hope they've got about 4 days. Oh, it's nine to the
Well,
whole day. It's
it
a
is a
whole
whole
day,
day.
so
Yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
good.
So
Yeah.
great to see Liverpool doing this. They have done, Simeon and others have done great work in the field nationally. So it's great to see that coming together. It's something I'd love to go to
Yeah, me
if
too.
I was in the country.
Yeah.
Yeah. So well done
They've done a lot of
to
work on
them.
their acronym as well, haven't they? Lambda, Liverpool
Yeah.
Advanced Methods for Big Data Analytics. I'd respect that sort of
Mm,
serious
mm,
acronym work there,
yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's on Friday and next Monday, and then Tuesday, in Leeds, and this is our last event of this section for today, is a digital volunteering matchmaking event 2026, organized by I think 100% Digital Leeds, and it's a networking event connecting businesses with CSR or ESV goals to VCSEs needing volunteers for digital skills support and transformation.
Mm.
And this is a networking event aiming to link tech companies and other businesses seeking corporate social responsibility and employer-supported volunteering opportunities with community, voluntary, or social enterprise organizations looking for volunteers to support either basic digital skills for Leeds residents or organizational digital transformation. And they're aiming for attendees to leave the event having made meaningful matches leading to ongoing mutual beneficial partnerships. So they're offering a introduction and context setting from Leeds Digital Volunteering Partnership, a panel discussion on the mutual benefits tech companies and VCSEs partnering to support digital inclusion for Leeds residents. From those who have already worked successfully in partnership, time to network and foster new partnerships, and an opportunity for attendees to continue any conversations with potential partners. So that sounds like a very good
That's brilliant too. Yeah.
matching event. And they must have done it before because this is their 2026 event.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, yeah, other places for people to pick up digital volunteers are available, including the Reach Volunteer website. But nothing beats a face-to-face event, does it,
No,
Swain?
it's
Where
another
people
really
can
good
meet.
cooperation
Yeah,
focused event. It's really
yeah.
things are getting better slightly as we go
We
forward.
feel that, don't we? Yeah, yeah. It's good to see these. I mean, obviously, we're picking out the things that are happening, so
Yeah,
we're
but I'm getting the feeling that
emphasizing
there are a
that.
lot more of these kind of nitty-gritty type
Mm,
experience sharing, willing cooperators events happening.
yeah.
It's great to see.
Mm, mm. So that's the end of our events for today's show, and we have some stories as well to bring you. So let's go straight into the first one of those. And this is what digital inclusion actually means right now, and this is in Africa, and this is by Stephanie Egareva, who works in digital accessibility and inclusive design. And she says she went at the time of writing, she just wrapped up her time at the seventh Inclusive Africa conference in Nairobi. And she says it completely shifted how she viewed the trajectory of our digital economy. AI digital transformation scale across the continent, and we cannot afford to treat inclusion as a retroactive patch. It has to be built directly into the foundational architecture. And so she has a raw, honest reframe of what digital inclusion actually means right now. She has a number of points. The first one being we keep asking, how do we raise disability awareness instead of why are our program registration portals actively blocking
Mm.
disabled applicants? And she says that gap is costing us real impact. Secondly, we need to stop copy pasting Western design frameworks into complex African urban hubs. If an app is engineered for smooth sidewalks but fails on an informal transit link or a moving bus with a patchy connection, the technology has failed the user. This is great. I love this kind of
Yeah,
this.
it's good.
Yeah, let's not center Western design all the time. So
Mm.
really good to have this on the show today. Okay, and her third point is she says, I thought tech platforms just needed flashier product features, but what they actually need is basic semantic HTML code. An unlabeled button that screen readers just announce as button is an immediate wall to an independent transaction. We could spend all day on this,
That's a
couldn't we,
very old
Swain?
story, isn't it? I mean, there's rules in place now for public authorities in the UK. They're not allowed to do that sort of thing anymore. Theoretically, I don't know how well it's enforced, but
Mm,
yeah, that's such a great point.
yeah. Fourthly, she says this isn't a motivation story. It's stop treating accessibility as an afterthought and start embedding it in procurement contracts story.
Story.
What can I say? I can't add
Absolutely.
much more to that, but
Absolutely.
yeah, procurement often features as in stories that we've come across and not always well. So
No.
yeah.
No.
Next point is she says we focus so much on writing beautiful impact reports that we completely ignore what is actually broken, and that is our digital pipelines and standard operating procedures. Preaching to the converted, but
Yeah,
this
no,
is
it's
like a
true.
manifesto. This is starting to read like
Yeah.
a manifesto, isn't it, Swain?
If you
And
take that point, if you take that point and the point about not copy pasting Western design frameworks, I
mm,
think that's really important.
mm,
Um, and I think some of my frustration with things are, the way things have taken so long to get going in Scotland are in that territory.
uh-huh,
In actual fact, I think the point about not needing to copy paste Western design frameworks, I think Scotland, being a Western country, could easily have copy pasted some English county type initiatives and approaches rather than spending months and months and months and lots of money on something new, which we
Mm.
don't, which will all come out as being the same words in a different order, I would expect. But anyway, carry on.
Okay. Coming to the last couple of points, she says nobody claps when you spend an afternoon manually auditing form structures or rewriting image alt text, but that engineering work is exactly where economic independence
Yes,
begins. Great. Yeah. Very clear. And
yes, and
mention of
that's where procurement
engineering
comes
as
in.
well. Yeah.
That's where procurement comes in as well,
Mm.
because if that's not priced into the cost of a project, then it won't get done because there won't be any resource.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's that's where the procurement is important.
And her final point is everything
Oh,
started making sense the moment we stopped treating digital accessibility as a compliance checkbox and started treating it as a prerequisite for continental competitiveness.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah, really, really good points there. And, obviously, written for an African context, but um, so relevant to, us in Europe as well. So, and Australia, wherever else people are, learning from
Globally,
what we're writing
and
or what we're
also
bringing to you.
for the mission to moon to the moon base as well. They'll need that too when it comes.
Getting ahead of ourselves there, Swain, but yeah, definitely. Okay, we're going to move on to the next story, which is the evolving meaning of digital inclusion. And this is by Christina Isaac, and she says, "What does it mean for the homelessness sector?" And again, we talked earlier about how we think things are moving on. Here we are looking at a story about a particular, not just digital inclusion broadly, but one sector, which is great to see. People going to niches, which I think is progress. Because people are examining what it means. And Christina writes that from the early COVID years to the present, a structured and comprehensive digital inclusion strategy aimed at adapting our residents to integrate and make competent use of the increasing socioeconomic environment of our country has become a focus to our support service. So she's writing about the service that she works for. We recognize that as services move online, so too does online fraud and exploitation. This makes safe and confident use just as important as access. In a borough defined by deprivation, low employability skills, and high transience, but also with an enterprising and ambitious population, we remain focused on tracking digital trends, identifying gaps, and equipping residents to re engage with the economic and social fabric of today's society. She goes on to say, for those of you who would like to reflect in just a generation, digital access has shifted from a fixed location based service to something people carry at all times. From limited computer ownership in the 1990s to smartphones and mobile data in the 2010s, the internet has moved from a place you go to something constantly with you. This transformation has reshaped how people interact with society and how businesses operate. As customers become permanently connected, more and more organizations and sectors are recognizing they could deliver services digitally at lower cost and greater scale. Although retail led this shift, followed by banking, travel, and media, today there is no part of society untouched by the digital transition, including sophisticated crime. Social media now shapes and influences public opinion at a scale and speed that is both unprecedented and difficult to fully comprehend. And she does write other bits as well, but she's basically inviting people to look at how housing is affected by digital inclusion and how what else people could do to become involved in supporting people. There is I didn't pick up what organization that she works for. I think you might have that on screen, Swain, still, do you?
She's the CEO of Just Homes charity and the MD of First Fruit Limited.
Okay. I'm not sure where that is in the country, but in the UK somewhere, I think, anyway.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Yeah,
Yes, yes.
yeah, yeah,
And this leads directly on from the work that John did for many years in the housing sector.
yeah, true.
I mean, in those days, it was partly in trying to encourage housing providers to provide broadband for their tenants. That was where it was at in those days.
Yeah.
But it's kind of this is just the natural development from
Yeah,
that base.
I remember a housing association. I won't name who they are but in Birmingham where I worked until last year. And they had Wi-Fi in their building, but only in one part of the building, I think.
Mm,
And You had to log in, and it was time
Hmm.
limited. And I mean,
Yeah, I know.
it's 2026, guys.
I
Get with
know.
the
I
program.
know.
Um,
The only people that treat you like that these days are Travelodge. So you don't want to be in that bracket.
yes, no, indeed, indeed. I mean,
30 minutes free Wi-Fi.
they
Hurrah!
were. It was a residential building, and people have their
Yeah.
own Wi-Fi as well. But
No.
making Wi-Fi public available should be, at least
Be
in parts of the
complete
building, should be
no-brainer.
just, yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
guaranteed.
Again, it's hard to retrofit. So again, for the last 15 or 20 years since John identified the issue, getting that into the design specification of the housing units that you have, that
Yeah,
you're the new ones that you have, and having a project then to comprehensively retrofit it. Those are two very different things, but they're
yeah,
they're they're both very important.
yeah, yeah. It still surprises me how many buildings I go in, and it's not automatic. But anyway,
Yeah.
we're still
Yeah.
working on that. Okay, moving on. We have an article by let's see, what's this lady's name? Have you got the name of the lady of
I
this?
will in just a
It
second.
says from Access to Authority, why digital inclusion must now become digital leadership, and I think it's
Oh, it's from an organization
Aki.
called Academy Achievers.
That's the one, yes.
Mm.
And we don't normally include articles that kind of promote one organization, but this
Mm.
seemed to have a more of a learning for other people and other organizations. And the person who writes it, Aki, somebody, anyway, she says, our work has intentionally shifted. We are no longer just preparing young people to enter the digital economy, we're preparing them to lead it, question it, and redesign it. So that seemed more progressive than just, we want to sell you a product. Um, the blurb, the writer says that through our programs, 350 girls have completed AI coding and data training, which is always good to see. 150 young people have accessed virtual work experience, with 65 progressing into real roles, and over 13,800 individuals are engaged through our digital learning ecosystem. But it goes on to say these are not just numbers, they represent a pipeline of future AI leaders, ethical thinkers, and system disruptors. AI is not neutral, and that's the point. Let's be clear. AI is not just a technical system, it's a social construct shaped by the data we feed it, the systems we build, and the values we prioritize. So the article says, which means if we are not intentional, we are not just building technology, we are scaling inequality. This is what really struck me. This is why
Absolutely
digital
right.
inclusion must evolve into ethical AI participation. Our young people are not just learning how to use AI tools, they're asking who built the system, whose data is represented, who benefits, and who is excluded. And actually, that
Absolutely brilliant.
reminds me of the remember Kara Allman. We heard her on the program, or on the show a couple of seasons ago several times, and they're exactly the sort of questions
Yes.
she was talking about then, datafication.
Justice and
Yeah,
equity. Yeah.
absolutely,
Yeah.
definitely. So great to see it
It also
happening,
slightly reminds me of
covering
Tony
here.
Benn's questions about democracy. Who has power, how do they exert it, and how do you get rid of them? It kind of reminds me of those sorts of questions. Those sorts of questions. How do you have the means of getting rid of them, or are you? Because yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, it reminds me of that old-fashioned wording about, it's not who's at the meeting, it's who takes the minutes or who writes the minutes that matter.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
this
Because
we've been here
in
before.
some ways, you could look at AI, certainly large language modules, as basically endlessly taking minutes,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because and just chopping and creating versions of minute of existing stuff. Yeah.
That reminds me, so funny. Uh, Somebody writing about a presentation they were doing for an event coming up, and they said the AI they use, and I won't name it, gave them the same talking points as the previous year. So, you have to keep on top of it. They're
Yes.
not
Have I
that they're
mentioned
false.
you know how there's a phrase "human in the loop"?
Oh yeah,
Was it on the show that somebody came up with the phrase "human at the helm"?
possibly. Yeah, I think we've
I
heard
like that a
that.
lot better because
Mm,
in
mm,
the loop just means you're kind of
yeah,
a passive,
yeah,
kind of you wait for things to hit you. Whereas
yeah,
if you're at the helm, you're actually steering how
yeah,
AI is, the output of
yeah.
AI is working. I think it's a far better kind of image.
Absolutely.
And I couldn't remember where that I picked that up, but I was very, very impressed with that
Yeah.
phrase. Obviously, being from a maritime community, it has an
Yes. Yeah.
immediacy. I'm not sure how
Hit.
well
Yeah.
it goes across to
Mm.
more landlocked areas, but it basically is, AI is a tool.
Yeah.
Remember that you're in charge, human.
Mm. Definitely.
That's the
Definitely.
thing. Yeah.
So back to this article,
Yes.
about the datafication. The writer says this is a level of thinking we need, not passive users, critical creators. And they go on to say corporate responsibility is no longer optional. One of the most significant developments in our work has been the deepening collaboration with the industry. And they say that 20 organizations have now embedded elements of the Be Me digital inclusion model into their workforce development. Over 250 staff have been trained, not just technically, but creatively and critically, to engage with AI in a responsible way. It says because the future of work is not just about skills, it's about judgment, ethics, and accountability. Through partnerships with organizations like Sienna and others, we are seeing a shift from CSR as a tick box exercise to CSR as a pipeline strategy, from one-off engagement to long-term ecosystem building. And this is how we close the digital skills gap sustainably. And it's a global movement, not a local program. So was written originally and working in London, this next line says. What started in London is now scaling globally. From the UK to Ghana, across Africa, Europe, and the Caribbean, we are building a model that's both locally relevant and globally scalable. And they give numbers for the number of students engaged through sustainable tech events, 500,000 reached through global school networks, and 20 plus international partners contributing to ecosystem growth. Um, and what they're saying is we're really building a distributed leadership model where young women and girls are not waiting for permission to enter tech spaces; they are owning them. And I love that that model, and that the kind of fiery challenge to the status quo. So well done to Academy
Absolutely.
for doing that. Okay, we are moving on to another story, and this is one that's come from Australia. And the headline is Managing Techno Stress in Older Generations. I don't think we've used that terminology before, but
No, I
we
don't. That's a new one on
certainly
me.
can understand what it means. And it's a podcast, and we're going to play about 5 minutes of it. But the overall story is that the digital world is well and truly here, but for some people it can be very isolating. Many essential services have a digital first approach, and for older generations, it can require a lot of navigating and upskilling. This feeling of unease has been called techno stress, and there are organizations aiming to close the digital divide. And the speaker we're going to hear is Melanie Stoll, PhD candidate at Auckland University, and the CEO of Good Things Australia is also on this podcast, but we're not going to have time to listen to
No.
the whole podcast. So we're just going to listen to the first 5 or so minutes. If you're able to press play, Sweyn.
Here we go.
I'm Rebecca Livingston, sitting in for Tegan Taylor. The world has a digital element to it, which is now really a non-negotiable. Whether it's government portals, your healthcare, your banking, most essential services are now completely online. And for older Australians who've had to adapt to this world, the constant changes and pressure to keep up can be quite isolating. This feeling has been described as techno stress. And with the world becoming digital by default, it can create a lot of anxiety. While for many it has opened doors for connection and community, for others it is another roadblock in trying to live their life. You're going to hear from a researcher in this field and also from a foundation who's trying to bridge this digital divide, but I want to hear from you. We often hear about the frustrations of technology. What about the benefits? I wonder if having gone online has opened doors for you, or are there still barriers you'd like to overcome? Look, I'm going to put my hand up and say I feel techno-stressed. I have too many remote controls just for the TV at home, and every time I want to buy something, someone wants my email, my address, my phone number, and a password, which I definitely can't remember. So maybe our next guest can help. Melanie Stoll is a PhD candidate at the University of Auckland who has researched people using digital technology later in life and the impact on mental well-being. Hi, Melanie.
Hello, thank you for having me.
What does techno stress look like, in particular in older people?
Yeah, so techno stress is not really a new term. It was traditionally used to describe the type of stress amongst workers around the need to having to adapt and upskill in technology. So it's essentially about the struggle to cope that some people might feel with new and changing technologies. But more recently, the term is beginning to be used to describe the technology-related stress amongst older people. So this is the idea of how technology itself can be a source of stress in people's everyday lives. This stress can be due to a number of reasons related to the use or the expectation to use technology. So, in the research I've been doing for my PhD, I've been learning about some of the technology related stressors that older people are experiencing. This includes the need to unlearn and relearn the same app after updates that have completely changed the interface and locked you out. Um, the thought of having their generations being targeted by scammers and the stress that comes with that. And then just the pressure to use technology increasingly in our everyday tasks and in order to just get our daily jobs done. So all of these factors can contribute to a lower sense of well-being.
Yeah, well, like I said, you'd be hard pressed going to your local cafe now without having a digital option to order. And I certainly know lots of people still just want to talk to a human being. Has the horse kind of bolted it? Like, is this is the world going forward, or do you think there'll be some analog rebels?
It's a great question. I certainly hope so. What I've learned in the interviews I've done so far is that while technology is seen as a great innovation and with so much potential to improve our lives, that human contact and having that choice for a non digital option is still really important to older people. And I think if we pay attention to that, we can also support a lot of other groups who are experiencing digital exclusion and remembering that sometimes that human connection is actually really important to maintain.
Melanie, you interviewed some subjects who are very digitally connected. Do they have the same concerns?
Yeah, absolutely. So, for example, I interviewed a 71-year-old woman who says that she uses an AI assistant and she really enjoys it and finds use for creating creative writing projects. And I've also interviewed some retired IT and software developers. Um, they may be using technology quite frequently and they do have high levels of knowledge, but even among those people, there was still a need and a feeling that they feel they have to really be intentional about keeping up with technology after retirement. And it seems to just get more and more difficult with age and those increasing years after retirement.
And perhaps also, if you leave a workplace where you have an IT support team, you know, someone you can call and say, I can't log in here, or there's a problem in retirement, or if you change work scenarios, perhaps you don't have that same support.
Absolutely, yes. And so the people I spoke to who did have experience in working with computers throughout their working years, they definitely noticed that change after retirement where they had that built-in support network and that network was no longer there. And of course, we need to remember that not everyone comes from a background where computer use is part of their working life. And for those people, the requirement and expectation to use technology in later life can be even more daunting.
So yeah, I think we can all agree with most of that.
Some great points there.
Mm,
I hadn't really thought of the retirement angle. I mean, I think I do appreciate that some people don't use much technology in their work, but for people who do and who rely heavily on the support service that's at their work, then when they retire, then they're on their own, aren't they? So in
yeah,
some ways,
yeah,
except they could, of course, phone AbilityNet for help.
absolutely.
I'm going to start an alternate branch of the Analog Rebels.
Is that a thing? Is that a
Uh,
thing?
I think it is a thing, but it's not quite the way that she meant it there. I did
Okay,
a quick Google, but no, I don't care if it's a thing. I'm going to start the first chapter of the International Analog Rebel Alliance.
excellent.
It's going to be in Kirkwall, yes, for
Yeah.
sure.
Okay.
I'm
Well,
sure I'll get a few sign-ups.
we're going to be finishing the show with that story because we don't have time to do
Okay,
the last ones. But I know I just remembering from the last show we had the Pope's encyclical on
yes.
AI. Did you get around to reading it?
I read some of it on the
Mm,
train, on the bus. I was traveling on a bus, and I read some of it. But
mm-hmm.
I must admit, I found the language quite dense
Ah,
and I think it has a kind of theological assumption. It has an assumption that the reader has a kind of a theological knowledge, which I don't really have. But I will try it again. I might break my rule of never using AI for anything and get it to, try and summarize, get Claude or somebody to summarize one of these things to summarize it as if it was a listicle or something. I don't know.
Or it could make you it could make you a podcast or something. You know, the ways do they can
Yeah,
convert it into
yeah, something like that.
oral yeah
I mean, I do
audio.
have some theological history in my life,
Oh yeah.
but it's all a bit rusty, and it's a very different brand of kind of on the religious spectrum than what I would have come from. So some of the deeper points that he was trying to make in the encyclical, I just didn't really feel that I understood what they were.
Okay.
But some of the straightforward statements about AI and about society and community and being human and all of that stuff was amazingly brilliant, I thought.
Yeah.
I could tell he got absolutely to the core of the issue, as you'd expect of a man of his intellect and experience. So it's great. It's great that
Good.
he did actually choose that subject as his first big. Do you call them pronouncements? I don't know what
Yeah.
you call
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. So I just want to finish with a book that I got from the library. I just
Oh,
found it on
right.
the shelf really. I don't know if you can
You're
throw
blurring
it
it.
back. Is it back to
You have to put it near your
can you see
face
it?
and then it won't
Neil?
blur it.
All right.
That's it.
Is that it?
My brain has too many tabs open. Oh, that's
Yeah.
brilliant.
It's by Tanya Goodin, and the subtitle is "Untangle Your Relationship with Tech," and it's 24 personal stories of people wrestling with common technology problems, from a little girl yearning for her mother to put on her phone to a taxi driver concerned about his son's gaming addiction. Learn how to recognize and label dependent behaviors, both of yourself and others, and find simple, easy solutions in this book.
That's great.
So that sounds like a really good one.
Yes, it's a good read.
We can recommend.
I think I might find that easier going on a bus.
Yeah, absolutely. I like reading. Yeah,
I
stories
do
again,
want
as
to get to
John
the
always
bottom of
talked
that
about.
of the encyclical, though. I do,
Mm.
but I kind of I need to look out the window after a while.
Well,
So,
we've had a good article about it in the last show, and I'm sure there'll be other articles about
I'm
it
sure there
again
will.
as well. We
Yeah.
can pick up. So great. So thanks for joining us today. Hope you have a good week. We're not on, I think, next week. But we will be back again a couple of shows
Yes.
before we finish the season
The 13th
in
and the 20th
July.
is the plan.
Yeah, that's it. So we'll see you then, and have a good time. And meanwhile,
Yes.
take care. All the best.
Bye.
Bye.